Hello everyone. IMS welcomes you all to our webinar series, the B School Insider, all you need to know about your dream school. And I'm your host, Khiyani for today's webinar. So in today's session, our topic is IIM Indore, campus life placements and academics. So in this webinar, you'll get the insider's view of IIM Indore and find out all about the personal journey of the four panelists who are here with us, from their CAT experiences to the selection process at IIM Indore, the campus life at IIM Indore, the academic schedule and faculty placement process at the campus, the kind of internships at IIM Indore, and some fun facts about IIM Indore. So today our speakers are Abhisha Sheth. She's an alumna from batch 2021. She's a consultant with ENY. Moin Bhutto, he is an alumnus from batch 2020. He's a senior consultant with PwC India. We have Bhavika Khiyani. She's an alumna from batch 2020. She's an analyst with Nomura. And we have our current student, Esha Sheth. She is in second year. Welcome all of you, and thank you so much for being here today for this session. So let's start from your CAT score and prep. So tell us about your CAT experience. How much did you score? How many months did you prepare for it? And was there anything in particular that you did to get success? You can start from, Moin, then Bhavika, then Abhisha, and then Esha. Yeah, we are going descending order. Yeah, Moin, you can start. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Kalyani, for that introduction. So for me, I did give my first attempt in 2016. So that was my first time when I was working with a PSU at that time.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I couldn't clear that thing. So for that year, I was working throughout the year. I was doing coaching at IMS. And then after that, I thought that it's not my cup of tea because I was not able to do that CAT thing. So I dropped off the preparation in the month of January in 2017.
Okay.
And post that, I received a call from my mentor, Sridhar Upadhyay from IMS, from Vadodara branch. And it was around June that he called me, and then he said, you should try for another step. We have a special program at IMS which focuses on only those students who have already prepared, and they have a special session. So I joined that session in the month of June. And from there, I put around 5 months of preparation. And I would say, I was working. So on weekdays, I was not able to put that much time. So say hardly 1 or 2 hours. But I used to utilize my weekends to make those preparation and attend the classes. So in short, I would say 1 year before the in my first attempt, and then hardly 5 months during my second attempt.
Okay.
And after that, I was able to score around 98.1 percentile in finally CAT 2017.
Okay.
And I would get into IIM.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Next, Bhavika.
Yeah, sure, Kalyani.
Yeah.
So around June 2017 is what I started preparing. And I just completed my third year of engineering, and we had this summer break. So I utilized that and I joined the IMS 40-day crash course for CAT preparation. And post that, I came back, then I had my academic curriculum going on side by side, and I used to try to invest like 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis. So I think post June, it was like 4 to 5 months of dedicated preparation for around 2 to 3 hours a day. And then November 2017 was my first attempt, and fortunately I was able to get through.
Okay.
And I scored around 95 percentile in my first attempt.
Okay.
And apart from this, a few pointers, as in I would say, is about mock analysis. So even when I was preparing, all of us read about that we should analyze mocks, but when I started analyzing, I noticed that it's very important that I analyze the questions that are right, because that will help me in figuring out a different way that I can use so that I can complete the same question in a shorter amount of time. So that one personal experience, I think that really helped me throughout my preparation. And apart from that, I think CAT is more of a time game. So it's very important that, when we practice, we understand which question is the one we should pick up now or which one we should park for later and save some time. So practice is the key. And that's all from my end.
Bhavika, you were a fresher when you took CAT?
Yeah, I was a fresher and
you were from engineering background.
Engineering background.
Moin, are you from engineering background? Or,
Yes.
And were you a fresher or were you working?
I was working. I had an
You-
experience of 3 years.
Okay, so you were working before, yeah, because there was a question as well before CAT, how many years of work ex was there? So yeah, so Abhisha, when you answer, you can also add in that, if you have had experience and all that, and which background you're from. Yeah. Yeah, Abhisha. Yeah.
Okay, so I am also an engineer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm also an engineer, and I already had completed 2 years of my experience in a startup.
Okay.
And then I was very sure that I want to do an MBA. That's when I became sure that I want to do an MBA. But I was very clear I want to do it from a top 10 school. So I had very low hopes whether I'll be able to convert it or not, because you have so many fears and rumors about CAT. It's a difficult exam. You can't do it with your job. You have to take a break, etc., etc. And that's when I met one of my mentor at IMS, and he told me you can do it. So I started preparing in the month of May. So what I realized about CAT is it's an everyday effort. It's not something which you can achieve in a month or two. So you have to make sure that you give 3 to 4 hours every day. And I think, as Bhavika correctly pointed out, it's very important. It's not about the number of mock tests that you give. So you don't have to enroll to too many mock tests from different institutes. I think IMS mock tests were really helpful. Even if you give 20 mock tests, make sure you analyze them. So, if a mock test is for 3 years, I used to literally spend more than 3 years in analyzing those mock tests. And for me, what lesson I had is I wanted to learn to choose the right questions. So if you know the right questions, which are your strength, put time on them and just do it. So become an expert to those areas which you're good at. That's what I did. And my strength was I had a balance for all the 3 sections. So I was not an expert. You'll find people who are very good with verbal. You'll find people who are very good with quants. I was not that person. I was somebody who could balance out all the sections, but I was not an expert at particular section in general. And so I scored 90. So initial 3 months, my score was really bad. I think one of the reasons was fear. So you have to really come out of that zone, that CAT is not possible for you. You have to believe yourself. That's the first thing which you have to do before starting to prepare for CAT. And I think after 3 months, that's what I did. I just entered into a don't care condition that it's okay. If I crack, it's good. If I don't crack, I have other things ahead for me in my life. Right. And that really helped me. And my score started shooting up, 1 month before the exam. Though I scored only 91.79 percentile, but my scores were balanced across all the three sections, and my work ex was something that really helped me. So my suggestion would be, don't leave your job. You have to learn to balance it with your job, and that really helps in your processes ahead.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Esha.
Yeah, thanks, Kalyani. So, along with these people, I think I'm from a management background and a fresher. So it was quite a different experience because I gave CAT in 2018. That time I couldn't score really well because with the CAT, I was not very focused on CAT at that time. But after my graduation is when I started. So I think I prepared for around 3-4 months properly. But because there was a previous year also that I'd worked, so I had, some idea of it. But what I think is most important for me that worked out was, one was, again, as Abhisha said, believe that you can do it. Just don't at that moment, because a lot of people I know who are very good with their stuff, but they stress out, right? So they stress out a lot before exams, they panic and they mess up their papers. Probably they could have done better. Right. So that was one thing. And for me, what worked was right question selection. So the more number of mocks that you give, the more that you analyze, you're going to know what are your strengths, because there are sectional cutoffs for each section. So you need to balance that out, but play on your strengths. So to score more, I think that's what worked for me.
Okay, there is a question about, so what about non-engineering background, like, because mostly, we get people, who are from engineering background. So who can answer this? Like, what should be how to prepare for CAT if you are from a non-engineering background? Who would answer? Esha, can you answer?
So,
as in certain challenges that you usually face if you are not an engineer. Yeah.
So as far as I know, I didn't ever look at it that way, that, it's different for us or them, because when you're starting with the basics, right? You're starting with the fundamentals, you're going to learn concepts and do it. So even when I took classes, sometimes you do feel that, engineers have an edge in quants because they're good at it. But again, honestly, I don't believe in that, because if you work and if you're starting from the basics, you have an equal edge and you just need to practice more. Because if you see like 3 sections, I would say quants, you need a lot of practice. DILR is similar for everyone. The more you practice the different diverse sets that you solve, it's always the same, and verbal also again. So it's not like they are at an edge as such. It just depends on your preparation and what you believe. That is what I thought.
Okay, so so tell us something about the selection process, as in the personal interview, and what were the topics on which the questions were asked. Do you have some special tips for future aspirants? So again, we can follow the same thing. Moin, Bhavika, Abhisha, and then Esha. Yeah.
So for me, the interview started basic with about your introduction, your work experience. Then it went into what you call it, general knowledge, the basic stuff which you call it.
Okay.
But the thing I feel which makes you different is when you enter into that room, you should be confident that you are a person who would be selected. Because what you're trying to do there is you're trying to impress them, to make them believe that you should be selected. Unless you have that belief in yourself that you can be selected, you will not be able to impress that judge. And the second thing I feel which many people miss, when you're waiting outside the that interview room in the lobby, so that is also very critical position, because a number of participants will come and out, and you will start asking them, how was your interview, what was the question. So sometimes it can give you some benefit, but at the same time it can create anxiety also. So for my case, they have someone asked what is a Doppler effect. So you start browsing, you start reading those stuff. So I would advise, when you're even in the lobby, just be focused that it's your day, it's your questions. You are not going to be asked the same question as been asked. So just focus on yourself, believe in yourself, and whatever has been done in the mock interviews at IMS, just be through there. So that's I would suggest for that.
Okay. So were you asked questions regarding your work experience? I mean, mostly the questions. You are on mute. Yeah.
So the weirdest question was asked, do you know maths? That was the first question asked to me.
Okay.
So then they asked me to prove area of triangle, half base into it. So this was something I never expected.
Okay.
That's
so it was not related to work, your work experience.
No, it was, but interview started like that. And then they asked me, what was your work experience? Then I gave a description about that. And then based on those, they again started telling why this thing, why you want to switch, you're in a good company, you're in a PSU, and good. So those sort of questions come in. And then the last part of the interview was given mostly on general knowledge. So it was around 5 to 6 topics or hours. And then so it was like that.
Okay. Yeah, Bhavika.
Yeah, sure, Kalan. So the process started with a VAT, that is a writing ability test. And I think we had an half an hour slot with a limit on the number of pages. I think that's around 2. And so it started with that. And after that, we had our personal interviews. And as Moin rightly mentioned, that you have to be confident. It depends a lot on the candidate, how he or she herself drives the interview. So when you introduce yourself, if you focus a little more on your work ex, or if you focus on your hobbies, the next question is, I think it directly comes on that.
Okay.
So given I was a fresher, so I was asked questions about my engineering background, a little bit about my hobbies, and then it moved on to current affairs. And I think all of that. And then there was also an extempo topic that was given to me during my personal interview. And I think a span of like 1 thing in 2 minutes to deliver. So, yeah.
Okay. Was there any, is there any tip that you would like to give?
I think the one that Moin mentioned, just be yourself, be confident. It's okay if you don't know answers to all the questions. So, for example, like even in your IIM Indore interview or for placements, they ask you guesstimates. So there, what they try to judge is the approach or the way that you're following to arrive at an answer. It's okay if you're not like 100% accurate, but the approach or the way that you use to arrive at it should be right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Abhisha.
So I think Bhavika clearly laid out what the process was. So I had a similar process. First was written ability test. If you did a topic, you get 30 minutes and you have to. So there, I think structuring is very important. Like the way the tone of your, it's not important that how good you are with vocabulary, and your language is important. So you need to have a decent decent writing capability, but I think your thought process and your structure is very important. How you lay down your points, how positive you are while you are trying to express your viewpoint, and how innovative can you think. That is something which will help you with that. And I think then I had my personal. So for me, since one of them also pointed out, so I had a good academic background with my SSC, HSC, and a good work experience that really helped me to get the shortlist. Because if you see the IIM in the profile, there are weightages given for certain components from a 10 score, 12 score work experience, etc. So that is something that really helped me, and I knew that interview is the only point which is going to help me convert. So I know I had to ace it, or else the possibility of converting is going to be difficult. So I prepared rigorously for it. And I think it was my personal interview that really helped me. So again, there I thought, they asked me trigonometry. So they asked me, what is your favorite topic in quant? And I knew that was going to come. So I was prepared for it, and I on purpose was a topic where the scope of asking questions is very limited. What can you ask in trigonometry? I knew कि इससे ज़्यादा कुछ पूछ ही नहीं पाएंगे ये लोग.
Correct.
So you have to be really smart enough to say what exactly you want. What is the next question that they're going to ask you? You have to prepare. You need to prepare yourself in that fashion. Even with a resume, you should know what is the next set of questions that they're going to ask once you start giving this answer. That's how you should exactly prepare. And so they asked me about maths. They asked me geography. They asked me where this country is located, how far this is from India. And I was like, I just smiled. And I think that's what they appreciate, because they were trying to pressurize me and I did not get pressured. I was like, ठीक है, आएगा तो आएगा, नहीं आएगा तो नहीं आ रहा है. So I clearly told कि ये approximately इतना होना चाहिए, but मैं expert तो नहीं हूँ. So you have to accept it, and you have to be really friendly with them. So that's what they look out for, like how exactly can you handle pressure. Then they asked me about my work experience. I think that was something which really helped me. They really liked the way I told what work I have done. And the last question, I think that they asked me is about my undergrad as well. So I had a campus company in my college. So I think that is also something which they really liked it. So your profile does help you in your personal interview. You need to know exactly what points you want to highlight. And as Bhavika rightly pointed out, your introduction is something which will help you to do that. So make sure, you prepare introduce yourself really well, because that's what your interview will start with.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now, Esha. Yeah.
So I think all of them have covered most of the points, but so one, I think people asked what my percentile and that was. So I scored a 92 percentile. So that was not even that high. So I was mainly, again, the interview became like the core thing to convert, right?
Okay.
So I remember after that, when we had the interview, first of all, I was very nervous because I was not that strong at current affairs. And everyone, how you have previous experiences coming in, everyone's extempore was mainly based on current affairs.
Okay.
So that's where the first time, but then I was like, as Moin and everyone mentioned, that, just go in with confidence and try to answer whatever they can. So because I was a fresher, I think more of the talking points for me were, they started off with, what are you doing? That was the question. What are you doing in life in a lockdown, right?
Okay.
So
yeah,
that was pretty this thing. But that's what I realized, that even all the mentors and all, that's what they say, that when they say, tell me about yourself, or you have a question where they are giving you ground to open, what to say. I think that's the best, because you can take the interview to where you want to. And that's how they start. And then there were a few, because I was a fresher under WorkX, I think there were a few questions on, technical of what I studied, like, probably because finance. So a few questions here and there. Also, what helped was being very straight. Like, if they ask that, what is this? So, for example, what is alpha and beta? I was very clear. I was like, if I know alpha, I said it, but I was like, I don't know the other. So just be confident of what you know and what you don't know, because that helps, and that shows that you're not trying to just manipulate stuff.
correct.
And other than that, also, I think everything, other points are covered mainly, but like, be confident is one thing for sure, because as Abhisha said, so, geography and all of that. So I think there was a time when they came to current affairs and they asked me, what would I want to be questioned on? And I realized that if I chose one, I would literally be bringing it on myself. So I was like, sir, you can go ahead with anything. And he asked me 5 to 6 questions directly related to, I think, politics and all those, parliamentary system and all. And it was a state I don't know, because that was clearly not my field. So, but again, I think that's what they test, that, how you react to pressure when you don't know something, carrying yourself, and just the way you react, or how positive you are.
Okay, there's a question, which kind of topic you'll get in what? Can you, what kind of topic you had? Bhavika, what kind of a topic you had? What was the topic?
So ours was related to so how can technology help elderly people?
Okay.
To that. So they asked us to probably write about specification of an app that they'll try to roll out to the older generation.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And anybody else?
For me, it was about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. It was launched that year only. So they asked us how can it be implemented and spread across. So it was related.
Okay. Yeah, Abhisha?
I'm actually struggling to remember.
Okay. Yeah, Esha, do you remember?
Not really.
Okay.
So, I would say it could be anything that has recently happened.
Right.
So just read through recent topics. It will come more related to those topics.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the next section, which is all about academics at IIM Indore. So let's talk a little bit about how was your first day and first week at IIM Indore like? So maybe we can again start with the in descending order. Yeah, we can start again with maybe this time. Yeah. Okay. Bhavika, first you answer, then Moin, then Abhisha, and then Esha. Yeah, Bhavika. Your first day, first week. I think first day is pretty. I don't know if you remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I can just recall all good memories. It was, I think, 2 days of induction, and third day we had a sports activity on the cricket stadium, and then time when you get to know about your classmates and then team bonding and all of that.
Okay.
Little too hectic, sleep deprived.
Okay.
But in the end, it was all worth it.
Yeah, Moin.
For me, the first 3 days were the most memorable day of my life at IIM. I clearly remember for the first day I slept at 5 a.m. and then I was supposed to wake up at 7. But I really enjoyed that. Those 3 days were the best days at IIM. Seriously, we had so many processes. We had our induction. We had this, as Bhavika mentioned, we had our outbound program. So it was really fun. But I would say you will be pushed in those 3 days. But if you go through these 3 days, you will never feel tired. It's like you build up some stamina to go through that entire 2 years of time. So that is very important. 3 days of IIM.
Yeah, Abhisha.
So I met a bunch of people on the first day itself, and they were my friends till the last day and even today. So I think that is one thing which was really good that happened with me. And as Moin and Bhavika, really those 3 days do set your pace for the next 2 years. They prepare you for everything and anything that is coming ahead. And so since I moved out of my home for the first time, like I never stayed away from the home, so I did miss home also a little. That was one thing also that happened. But yeah, I think they covered it really well. Apart from sports program, we also had something called a tree plantation. So what happens is you go with your director and you plant a tree. That is also something which happened in the first.
Yeah, Isha's would be very interesting.
Literally. So ours was again online, so we haven't experienced any of this. It was just wearing a good top and just sitting here and facing people. But yeah, schedule wise again, yeah, those 3 days were very hectic when you start with it. So in the beginning, when you get all activities and all of that, before that you're just like, okay, you feel like something has started, but then when it actually starts, those 3 days, you realize everything's together, and that's how they plan it, so that so I used to be someone who used to sleep by 10 p.m.
Okay.
And every single day of those 3 days, I think I was awake till 2 or 3 a.m. And it was because my MBA the start was from home. So even at home, people are like, what do they make you work till that much time, right? So again, it was a change in schedule and a lot of changes. But now eventually you do get used to it. And then you realize that it's preparing you for what's coming.
So tell us something about the daily routine, as in how the time is divided between study and having fun activities. Whoever wants to take it. Bhavika, you can take it in part, and Abhisha, you can take it in parts. Esha, if you want to pitch in, Moin, if you want to pitch in. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Khiyani. So during our first term, we had classes from like 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. And post that, we had some sort of placement activities, and then we had time to prepare for our next day, case preparations, quizzes, and some time for clubs and committee activities. But I think post that, when elective starts coming in, and then when you're in your second year, then you have classes like at 9 in the morning, 10 p.m. at night. But I think it depends. Like, I really like that schedule. I do not mind attending a class at 10 p.m. So yeah, it's like a good mix. You will definitely make out time for fun activities or meeting people, networking, and all of that.
Yeah, Abhisha.
So I think for me, the first 2 terms, they're a little acad heavy and you are very new to the schedule and everything. So, you'll end up spending a little more time in your acads because you'll be very, you'll kind of worry about placements, you'll kind of worry a lot of things around you. But I think after second term, it's all very chill. You're very used to with your schedule. You'll find more time. You actually have more time in fun activities. So you'll end up being near Adda throughout the evening with your friends. You'll plan to skip mess dinners and you'll go for night mess. So night mess opens at, post 10, 11 p.m. So you'll be awake till 2 p.m., 3 p.m. You'll go to terraces, you'll roam here and there, even if you have a class at 9 a.m. in the morning. So that's what happens in your third term. Second year is also very chill. So, so normally with acads and fun activity, I think it's your choice how you want to balance it out. As Bhavika mentioned, you'll have a lot of quizzes and case studies. So how well you manage your time. So basically, I used to normally give 2 hours in the afternoon because afternoon is the time when everybody used to sleep, and evening is the time I used to not at all spend on a cat. So I'm mostly out of my room. I'm at my friend's room, or we're just chilling and roaming around here and there. So that's how my day used to be.
Okay, Esha, there is a question for you. How is Esha coping up with this online thing? Are the opportunities same now? I mean, placement opportunities as well as the activities of the campus life. Yeah.
So honestly, I don't know how different this is from offline because never been through that experience. I'm sure it would be very different, but online again, coping up is a little difficult, mainly because you're distracted. Again, focusing on lectures and all of that is also, but yes, they are making sure we have enough opportunities in terms of, say for example, you want to balance out a bit your profile. So, something like live projects or even working on projects.
Yeah.
Competitions, case competitions, and all of that. So ample opportunities that way. It depends on how you want to balance it out. The only thing is focusing in the online mode is a problem, but I think eventually you have to cope up with that. And I think as things get better now, that online and hybrid classes start, I think we're getting some sort of experience to, what MBA would have been like for all of these people also. So
So, but in online, do you all have those similar kind of opportunities like for clubs and committees and all that? Like, have you been introduced to everybody and you've made friends? Like, how in a regular offline class it would be.
Yeah. So it starts with, so when you have these club and committee selections, I think that happens at the beginning only itself.
Okay.
Probably term 1, term 2. So that's when you decide, like, which committee or club you want to go into. Accordingly, you prepare, apply. And that's how you know your club members, your committee members, and that's the interaction you have. I think one disadvantage is that, probably if you were on campus, you'd know them, you'd know people in live, right? So even if they were from different committees, or say, for example, it's a fest, so everyone would have met. So that probably has not happened. Committees have not interacted with each other. I think Abhisha can highlight more on that.
Abhisha. Can you tell us a little bit about the clubs and committees, and if you are a member of any?
So I think the reason why Esha smiled is because we both were remembering IFI Summit.
Okay.
So in my first year, I was a part of a fest called as IFI Summit in the marketing team, and we placement preparation committee. That's a committee which basically helps the student to prepare for placements.
Right.
And in the next year, I was overall coordinator of IFI Summit, and then also part of dramatics club. So I think clubs and committees, the reason why they help you is your seniors. It's very easy way to know your seniors. So I think that's how I and Esha know each other, because of something, or else you wouldn't have known each other. That's what clubs and committee help you. Right. And I think since I was in a hybrid mode, so my first year was offline, second year was online, so I could clearly see the difference. When it is online, though we know them, we do connect on video calls, but once we met on the campus, the connect is different. Like you start hanging out with each other. We had parties together, so that difference is always there. But it's okay. Like even online mode does help you to know your seniors, connect with them with all the processes and things around.
So now, tell us a bit about the faculty members. Any favorite class or professor? Okay, who can answer? Abhisha, you want to answer first?
Yeah, I want to take it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So to be honest, I did not. I think I would have missed only 1 or 2 lectures in 2 years. I was somebody who used to religiously attend all the lectures, and I was a very prof-based person.
Okay.
So yeah. So all my courses are based on the kind of professors are. So I have a lot of names to take. So Bin Sudhir is one of a very good prof. Manoj Motiani is amazing prof for sales and distribution management. Okay. You have Harshil for operations. He's an amazing prof for learning TOC. Then for HR, we have so even for a subject of, even for a stream like HR, it's a very important, they're very important subjects which will really help you in an organization. So there was a professor called Sushant Mishra, amazing prof. You're going to enjoy all 20 lectures. So we had fun activities. These are not sessions where a professor just would come inside, give you a lecture and go away. We have a lot of activities that are conducted within the classroom. So that is something. So we had people coming from outside for a case. So that's the kind of exposure that you get. That was something really good. I'm just looking. Yeah, I think so many profs. I can name a lot of them. So there's some profs which are very good. So whenever you was choosing a subject, so we had Vipul Kumar for B2B, amazing prof. So you get all these live experiences, their work experience, what they did and how they could ace it. That is something which really helps. So I would also suggest everybody that whenever choosing any subject in a second year, see who is the professor. So professor really matters.
Okay. Yeah, Moin?
Yeah.
Your favorite class and favorite professor?
For me, my favorite class would be my first year class because we spent 1 year there. So it has remained the favorite class. Okay. For professor, I would say Harshal Lovalekar. He used to teach TOC, so he was one of my best professor. And then Vipul Kumar and Kajri Mukherjee. So the list is, and I would say there are a number of teachers, as Abhisha has already taken so many names. So a large number of teachers are really good. They interact with you. They form a very good bond with you. They are like very friendly culture in IIM. I would say the faculty is really good. I don't know what else to say.
Bhavika, your favorite professor and favorite class?
So I agree with them. The list is endless. But for marketing, it was Motiani sir, Subin Sudhir sir. For finance, Kaushik sir, and Harshal sir for operations. So I think I can just go on. For communications, we had Devyadati sir.
But do you have any favorite subject? Out of all?
No, I think I'll not do justice if I mention one. So I think a good mix of everything.
Okay. Yeah, Esha?
I think they've mentioned all of them, but so also for finance, we had Professor Gaurav Chauhan, we have him, and we have Professor Debashish Mehta, so they're really good that way. And so those are the two professors. Like favorite subject.
Also adding Pradeep Banerjee for finance, Esha. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but we cannot forget Pradeep.
Yeah. He was my favorite in term 1. Like we learned back from the basic and. But
okay, so now let's move on to the next section, which is all about internships and placements. So let's talk about your summer internship and the internship selection process. So probably, Esha, you can talk a little bit about the internship bit, because the placements bit, I think, the others can cover. Yeah.
So starting with internships, I think the process. So I myself interned at Sun Food Corporation. So that was more like a family business, and my role was in general management.
Okay.
So it was again in business development, market research, and all. Regarding the process, I think whichever companies come in, pretty much have their own specified, way of conducting their process. It could include a GD. It could include extempore, personal interviews again. Some would have like case discussions, case analysis. So I think the process that is important is one is time management from the very beginning, from term one, term two, because everyone knows that it's going to be hectic. So you start from the very beginning and you balance your time. Otherwise, all of it comes together. So that's what happened with me. I was not very well prepared at the first place. So I messed up in balancing time between the preparation for summers and that. So that is one thing that you should do. Regarding preparation for your process, I think you have mentors, you have preparation committees, and you have all of them that will help you and guide you how to go about it. So from where to start and all of that. So that is, you need to plan it out and do it. So that's what I feel. Time management is very
important. Okay. Yeah. So now we can, I think, yeah, we can, do you want to add anything, the three of you, on about internships, anything specific? Then we can, otherwise we'll move to placements. No? Okay.
Is that your internship doesn't define everything. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that is something that, a lot of people think that, if you have had a good internship, then, you have a better chance of getting a good PPO or a, better placement. Is there really a correlationship, or is it like independent of it? Or, I mean, yeah.
For that, I would say if you get a good internship in a good company, you do have a chance of getting a PPO. Even if you don't get a PPO, you still have 1 year ahead of you.
Right.
And that time frame, you should build up your CV. Okay. So even if you see if your CV is not that good when you enter into the IIM, you cannot do anything about it.
Okay.
Because it's already done in the past. But then you have a 1 year to build up your CV, and then you might get more better opportunities final placement, which you are not shortlisted in first year. So that's you can build up. So it's not that if you don't get a good internship, your career is ended. As Abhisha also.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what is the placement process at IIM Indore like? And you can also talk a little bit about working as an analyst at Nomura, Bhavika. So this question is for you. So you can also talk a little bit about the general placement process, and then get into what exactly, how was your personal experience with when you got selected as an analyst? Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Kalyani. So the process starts with the companies coming in, and then we have their PPT. So they pitch in what sort of role they want to offer, what the company is about, what all expectations they have from the ideal candidate. So it starts with that. After that, a few companies roll out a pre-process that you're expected to complete and submit before the entire placement process begins. So again, depends on which sort of company it is. Post the pre-process, then when the actual placement process starts, then we have like rounds of GDs or PIs. So for example, for Nomura, I had like 2 rounds of GDs, and then it was followed by a personal interview.
Okay.
So that's like a highlight.
General process. Okay.
Process. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I interned with Nomura, and thereafter I received a PPO. So I think I like the trailer that Nomura gave me for the 2 months during my internship. Apart from like working on the project and working on the specific deliverables that you should accomplish by the end of 2 months, they helped us understand how does an investment bank work, what kind of stakeholders we have, and there were various other sessions like knowledge sharing sessions and all of that. So I think it was beyond. I think one thing that I really liked was something beyond the project, and the learning curve of that was quite steep. So I enjoyed that, and then and when the PPO was rolled out, I was very happy, and then was happy about accepting the offer as well. Currently, like it's been more than a year that I'm working as an analyst for Nomura. And again, the same thing. I think there was a little bit of hand-holding during the initial days. Like they help you get to know your stakeholders about your project, and then post that you have to run your calls independently. You have to run your working groups independently. So that happens. But apart from project, they ensure that you build other capabilities as well. We are aligned to some sort of capability therein. You learn new tools that are used in the market and all of that. So I think the growth curve is quite steep, and such sort of a culture in an organization really helps.
Okay. Yeah. Abhisha, can you tell us about your placement interview experience and getting selected by EY?
So since it's a consulting company, I had only interview rounds. I did not go through any GD process or any pre-process as
Okay.
such.
Okay.
We just had to fill an application form like, why do you want to join EY? A small answer and your small details about your work, like about your previous experience and whatever work you have done in the last 2 years at your MBA. So since it's a consulting company, so I had 3 rounds. Last was an HR round and 2 were case rounds. So my interview was focused only on case studies. In my first round, they asked me case studies which were not based out of my resume. So one was on retail industry and the other one was on pricing. Basically, there's a company and they want to enter with a new product. How exactly are you going to work out with the pricing model factors will you take into? And what they look out for is your are you able to think innovative, as I clearly mentioned? What's your thought process? Are you structured or not? And I think the second round was more on resume based. So they tried to bring out cases from what work I have already done. So there was one case on education. So since I worked in education industry, they asked me a question on education industry and I had to structure it out. They asked me on IFI Summit, so how exactly did you go from an offline mode to an online mode? So this question sounds like it's a very straight question, right? How do you transform a summit from an offline mode to online mode?
Okay.
You could have given a very small answer, but that's not what they look out for. They look out for the structure, like how exactly you do plan it out. That's what they look out for.
Okay.
So you need to start from a very basic thing. The first thing which we had to start with was to accept that offline is not possible and online mode is possible. It has to be as granular as possible. That's what they look out for. And then the last one was an HR round. It was a simple HR round. He just asked me about few things, what I like, what I don't like. Why do I want to get into consulting? He started saying a lot of bad things. Consulting mein ye problem hota hai, wo problem hota hai. Do you really think you'll be able to do it? And that's when you just have to show willingness ki हाँ मुझे तो पता है कि सब job में ही होता है, but this is something which I'm looking forward to. So you need to be prepared for all kind of questions that they're going to throw at. So preparation is a key, and I think one small tip which I would like to share is case preparation is something which not only helps you for consulting interviews, but in general it helps you for all kind of interviews, whether it's marketing, finance, or operation, because it helps you to structure your thought process, and that again comes with time. It's not something which you're going to learn in a week or two. It's something which you have to practice in advance. So I think that's what helped me.
Okay. Yeah. Moin, can you talk a little bit about your experience? Did you intern with PwC India and then you got a PPO, or was it the other way? Oh.
Okay. So for me, I interned with Infosys Consulting and I didn't get a PPO, to be honest. And then I tried for interview with PwC in final placement, more like lateral placement that you call it. So for me, it was 2 rounds. First was managers round and second was partners round. In managers round, the interview started with my CV. He asked questions related to CV and specifically to the subject which I mentioned there. So he asked me, what did you study in this subject? And again, he started building on those, what are the frameworks I studied, and asked me questions. Then I entered into a case study. And so for that case study, he took a topic based on my internship. I had done something related to pricing. So he asked me to prepare a case on pricing related. And as you say in consulting, they also ask you guesstimate. So it was not asked me as a different topic. As a part of case only, a guesstimate was given. I had to drive some numbers and then go through it. And in the end, it was more about the role, the industry which I'm going. So I was part of oil and gas industry. So they asked me about what do you know about that industry. So frankly, I had no idea. I had just read through the last night some topics and just I told him about those things only. So that's how it helped me out. And the second was my partner round. He's the leader of the PwC, that oil and gas team. So it is more of a fit type. Like he will ask you technical questions. He'll ask you something related to HR, and he will try to see whether you are a fit for his role, with whether you will be working along with the team members. How will you gel up? Are you able to? Will you be putting hours? Are you comfortable with traveling? Because in consulting you are required to test. So those sort of question he asked me. And one tip I would give to all people is there's always a question. Do you have any question for us at the end of every interview? So you should have one very good question. So for me, I asked a very good question to my partner, and he was very impressed. He never thought I would ask such question. I asked something related to his background. He was in Navy, and I asked him something related to this. So he was shocked that I had gone through his profile and I searched through it that he was in that. So just be prepared with something to ask at the end. So that's what I'd suggest. And other than, as Abhisha mentioned, if for consulting interview, case study is very important, and you will not learn in say 2 days or 3 days. at least you should start preparing for the 3-4 weeks before, and
Okay.
not so that you need some people to practice with them. And
Okay.
also, even if you're confident yet good, you are very good in case study, you can at least help out others in moderating their case study, so that would also help you develop more capabilities in that thing.
Okay.
So case study is the key in that, I would say.
Okay. Okay, let's take some questions from the attendees. What's the ideal roadmap if you wish to land up in a top consulting job once you've reached an IIM? Also, which stream, marketing, finance, or something else, gives you a better chance of getting into consulting? So, Abhisha, you can take this question.
So I think it is not like which stream are you in is actually independent if you want to enter into consulting, because as a consultant you are more of a generalist when you join. And then while you stay in that organization, you slowly become a specialist into something. That's how a consulting journey goes typically, you know.
Okay.
So I had a mix of experience. I have seen people who are from economics background and they enter into consulting. So your background does not matter. I think pressure versus work ex, that depends on the criteria that a company sets. But I have colleagues who are freshers also, and I have colleagues who have work ex also.
Okay.
So I think that also doesn't matter. What matters is in case you have exposure to various industries. So because consulting, what happens is these projects keep changing quarterly or yearly. So they basically, what they test is how adaptive you are to industries and how quickly can you learn about it. That is one thing that they look out for in a structured thought process. So your background doesn't matter, you're a fresher or work ex doesn't matter, but for shortlisting it does matter, because then you're competing with a batch of 600 people. So think from perspective of company. So they want to shortlist you basis the kind of CV that you have. That is the only place that it matters. Once you get a shortlist, what matters is how good you are and how quickly can you think, how structured you are.
Okay. Okay. So if one is having 2 months to do self-preparation for CAT, devoting 4 to 5 hours per day, is that enough? What should we do? Esha, can you take this question?
Yeah, I think again, it is very much possible, that time frame also. I think what you should try to do is every day when you're giving at least 4 hours, if you're giving, divide it among, see, there are two types possible. Either you decide one day for one particular section as such, for today DILR or for tomorrow quants, but I think that can become too monotonous. So what my approach would be is, if I'm studying for say 4 hours also a day, I'd probably decide 1.5 hours for each section, or probably give more mocks, right? Because the more questions you solve, I think you take at least 2 days to solve and analyze a mock together.
Right.
So again, if you want to give 20 mocks, even with a gap, I think you need 1 or 2 months only for that. So focus on that, and I would suggest for verbal, read as much as you can, vocabulary and all of that, try to improve. For DILR, practice as much as you can. And for quants, select your areas, because possibly I honestly don't think everyone can cover all the 4 modules that we have. So very perfectly. So choose your areas, your strong areas, and focus on those.
Okay. Okay. How did you guys choose your electives? How does it affect internships and placements? Bhavika, do you want to take it?
Yeah, sure, Kalyani. So one on the interest, for example, so my electives were a mix. So I was slightly inclined towards finance. So I can say 40% of finance, 30% of marketing, and rest ops and HR. But firstly, it depends on your inclination, which sort of field that you want to take up. Second, on the professors. And third, you should try to coordinate your timetable accordingly, because it will end up in clashes. And you are only allowed to take a limited amount of leaves per subject. So I think that also matters.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, okay. How is placement process different for freshers and people with work ex? How do lateral placements help? Moin, you can answer how do lateral placements help? And do you also want to answer how is placement process different for freshers and people with work ex?
I can.
Yeah.
So for the final place, summer internship is same for all those, whether they are fresher or have experience. So it follows the same procedure. It starts from day one. But for in final placement, what happened? We have two slots. One is called lateral placement that happens only for people who have work experience, say more than 18 months. It's a benchmark set. It can vary from company to company. Some company, if they are looking on, they can reduce it to 12 months also. But generally, it happens initially, say in the month of December. So the people with their work experience, they are given first preference to those companies. And post in January, you have a final placement. So in that, freshers are given more opportunity to placement. Still, even those who have work experience and who couldn't get placed in level, they still have the opportunity. But the more opportunities come for fresher in final place, because the rules are like they companies for marketing, finance, they for more what do you call it, freshers. So at that time, freshers are preferred more. But for letters, the people with the experience preferred more. So that's how it ends up in final.
Okay. Anybody wants to add anything? No? Okay. What kind of activities happen in the class? Because I'm very scared of public speaking and getting focused. I'm really scared of all these things. This is a question which has been repeated by this attendee quite a few times. So let's take this question. Who would like to answer? Esha, do you want to answer?
So I'm gonna say, even if for all those people who are scared, because even I used to get nervous, right? So public speaking and all of that was never my forte. But again, something that we've not faced in undergraduation, at least for me, is when you come here, you have class participation, right? For all the electives, you have different type of activities, presentations, and a lot of other electives also, which are compulsory. So everyone has to go through them. But again, I would say it was a little easier in online mode for us. But even the experience, if it was an offline mode, would have been just as enriching, because somewhere it's getting you out of your comfort zone. So you don't exactly have to worry that, it's a gradual process, right? So from beginning, sometimes you stumble also while talking if you're very nervous. But I think that's what we learned. Like, even for class participation or something, you just have to speak and it comes naturally. So you don't have to really worry about it. Gradually, also, if you work on it, it's very manageable. So it's not like a stress point. In fact, that's something you need to learn, because eventually the end goal of this is communication skills are going to be a top this thing, even for any internship, placements, anything you prepare in life. So gradually you're going to learn.
Okay.
I have one more point to it. So you should different. You are not in UG anymore. The way you did in UG, and you are going for a PG. If you don't want to develop yourself, what's the point of doing a PG? And at the end, you have to communicate. You have to speak to the company people. So you should start speaking. And the first step would be start doing CP. That's the first point I would say. Nobody will force you, but from there you can remove your hesitation of speaking. So that's a very good thing to try.
Okay. So let's go to our fun section, which is life at campus. So this is a photo sharing section. So Abhisha, Bhavika, and Moin, you guys will be sharing photos, I believe. Esha, you were very busy with exams, so yeah, you're exempted. So yeah, but in case you want to show any photo at all, then you are most welcome. So who will start? Bhavika, do you want to start, or Abhisha?
Sure, I can start.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Bhavika, then after that Abhisha, and then Moin. So quickly we'll just look at some photos.
I'll take you straight into a classroom. So this is from our first year, and as you can see, all happy faces, and we have Professor Prashant Salwan. So this one is from the Himalayan Outbound program. So we have a place called Jam in our campus. And we had painted this outfit. So the main background is what students have done. And we had inaugurated this around, I guess, in Jan 2019. So we have few professors, like Professor Mutyani Sundar and the ECLT. This is from the Rural Immersion Program. First to a place in Khandwa, and 3 to 4 days of staying there, getting to know people over there, visiting their places, visiting the schools, conducting sessions there, trying to get glance about how things are there, what sort of facilities do they have. This is from the section was. So I think we had this in our term 3. And you just team up with people whom you don't know well and and this is from the Ganesh Chaturthi festival.
So this is the Maharashtrian feast. This is the first set of people whom I met on day 1. So I'm starting with day 1. This is the first set of senior team that I interacted with. And this is the first fest and first college activity that happened.
Mm.
This is the freshers night, and we danced a lot that day. And so this is the night which I can never forget. And I think anybody who will join IIM Indore will be able to relate it.
Okay.
And they'll remember me when they have this DJ night. This is the tree plantation that I was talking about. This is the photo after our first midterm getting over. And you can see the smiling faces because you're appearing for exam after 3 years of work experience. So each exam is, this is the holy celebration that we had. This is the section party that we have at the end of first year. I think this is a tradition that every year people have, because in next year you don't have your same section. Your section keeps changing because you only have elective. So this was a section party. This is the photo shoots. There are a lot of photo shoots in your second year with all your committees, clubs, your friends, everything, all dressed up in formals. This is we did Nukkad Natak on Republic Day.
Okay.
So this is the photo with the director. This is the brightest picture that I have in my gallery where everybody is dressed up and we did a Garba together. So this is Garba celebration.
This is the gate of IIM Indore. You will be entering into. Then you will have your section works. So you will be into number of activities. So this is my section B, and these are the people close to my heart. I know most of them and still in connect with them. So that's how this is a Wakanda pose we did for section work. So that's snippet from there. Then you will have some ethnic day celebration, some sort of celebration. You will have a dress code. You all need to be aware. So this kind of thing you do at the college.
Okay.
Then post that you will go to a rest in not RIP rural immersion program, and where you visit those villages and they will welcome you. So that's a pic from there.
Okay.
Then this is the hall you will remember if you go into the campus. You will spend most of your time here. You will have your competitions. You will have your placement talk. You have in placement here. So everything will happen in this hall. You will remember this.
Okay.
So this is the hall you will be very fond of. Then you will go to Himalaya outbound program. So this is the scene you get in the night. So these are the tents we used to live, and that was a situation there. So that's a pic from there. Then you'll have a sparsh. We do have some this sort of celebration. You will get some celebrity. There is some performance. So you get some fun activities also there, not just study stuff.
Right.
Then this is the invitation you get for your farewell, and you start. Okay, the journey is coming to an end. Farewell. So these are my close friends. I just put a picture there, and that's how my journey ended at IIM.
Okay, anybody can answer. What is the skywalk at IIM Indore referred to as?
Patal Lok.
Patal Lok.
What?
Patal Lok.
Okay. Okay. RIP at IIM Indore doesn't mean rest in peace. It means an acronym for
Rural Immersion Program.
Yeah. What's the motto of IIM Indore?
Siddhi Mulam Prabandhanam.
Oh my. What does it mean?
Nobody knows.
No, I think management is the key to achieving
it.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, yeah. Okay. What is the other name that IIM Indore is also known as?
Planet
I.
Okay. So how is the party life at IIM Indore? Is there a party life? Is there nightlife?
Definitely.
So this one last question for all of you is, how did you make your profile? As in, if so most of our attendees are taking CAT this year or next year. So what all they can do now to prepare better for not just for CAT, but also to build a profile. Whether they are fresher or actually it is more for people who are freshers, because otherwise, if you're working, you already have a sort of like something in your resume. So maybe Abhisha, you can start, then Bhavika, you can give one tip each, and Esha, and then Moin. Yeah.
So building your profile is, so first I'll start with what is the easiest way to do. Start doing some good online courses from good places. So if you're doing from marketing, do it from, you can do courses that are offered by Google. You can do it from, brands that are known for marketing. So that is one thing which is easier to do because you can sit at home and do it. For freshers, I think internship is something which will really help you, because then see, while you're going for an interview, you can say this is your work experience.
Okay.
This is a replacement for people who have work experience. This is your internship. So that shows some concrete experience that you have got some exposure of working in a company, working with teams. That is something which really helps.
Okay.
internships and live projects. So live projects is something which will be rolled out once you enter the campus. Apart from that, what you can do is you can be a part of clubs and committees, because that will give you resume points, that will give you exposure as well, and that also shows an inclination. So if you're a part of a marketing club, it shows an inclination towards marketing. If you're a part of consulting club, it shows an inclination towards consulting.
Okay.
I think apart from that, so I used to work for a lot of non-profits. So that also really helps, because, you know, nowadays companies are looking out for people who are very socially conscious, who thinks about society in general. So you can work for non-profits if that's your point of interest. And so that is something which is with respect to hobbies. So one is with respect to work experience, extracurriculars and hobbies, and not necessarily only non-profits. So in case you are interested in dramatics, join the drama club of the IIM Indore. If you're interested in music, start learning it from somewhere. Take some online courses. You should have some concrete proof before you put it on your resume. That also, you should have those talking points. That is what is important. This is how you can develop your CV. I think this should suffice.
Bhavika, one tip for the CAT prep.
So I would say consistency is the key. Keep practicing. Don't let fear building. Let confidence overcome your fear. And practice is the key. Like when you keep practicing, when you keep reading, your vocab improves, your DILR improves. So, like proper 2 to 3 hours, or if you cannot, work on some day, if you're not able to practice that day, make sure you compensate for it in the next week or on the. So yeah, just be consistent, and you should easily be able to sail through.
Moin?
Yeah, I would say perseverance is the key. So you just keep on giving mocks and do analyze them till the last day. And even there will come, you will score very less in some mocks, but don't lose hope. Just be ready that you have taken a decision, and till the day of CAT, you will be preparing for that. And if possible, meet your mentors, see how has been the trend, discuss with them which area you should focus on, and try to identify which are your weak areas and strong area and work on those. So that would really, but just be there, like don't give up, I would say.
Okay. Esha, can you add something on profile building for freshers?
I think for profile building, I think Abhisha covered pretty much everything from internships, live projects, social cause, online courses. That's the most you can do. And other than that, again, if you have any hobbies, interests, try to work on it so you can show that that what you really like it. Because I think somewhere they need to see that if you like something, do you even pursue it? You don't just say you like something. So.
And for CAT prep or for interview, do you have any tip?
For CAT prep, for interview, I would say if you start preparing on a daily basis, for CAT prep, it's the same. But for interview also, if you have for current affairs and all, you can actually start from the very beginning if you plan it out properly, because that is important. Like some people do that one night before, you just go through news and all of that. So don't do that. A little bit read so you have more talking points, right?
Okay.
Even for hobbies or something like that, say for example, I had put reading as a hobby. So my entire extempore was on that. It was in current affairs. So just be know your resume really well. At any point in time, you should be able to explain it. And second would be build enough talking points. So you have that time, fine.
All right, that's as much time we have for today's session. So I would like to thank all the attendees, and thank you, Abhisha Sheth, thank you, Moin Bhutto, thank you, Bhavika Khiyani and Esha Sheth. Thank you so much, all of you, for giving so much insights on IIM Indore. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you for the invite, Kalyani.
Thank you, Kalyani. Thank you, everybody. All the best.
Thank you. All the best.